Oh my gosh.
Hello,
Oh
hello. Here
my
we
gosh.
are.
Here we are. Here we are. Um, this is the 12th month and the second day of that
Yes,
12th
it is.
month of the year
Oh my gosh. We are
2025.
already in December.
Time is just going
We it is
forward. It
flying.
really is
It's
flying.
crazy, actually.
It really is flying. For
Yeah.
people who are joining us for the first time, this is Talk to Me with your host here, Christopher Toussaint,
It's been a while since that
who
one.
will be talking to you. What's new?
Who will be talking? You
What's
know who will be talking?
who's
I'll
gonna be
be
talking?
talking.
You'll be
Me,
talking.
per
Yeah,
usual.
and I'll just be here. I'm just your sidekick right here, pressing the buttons behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
Pascal also loves to talk sometimes, for those who
sometimes,
want to.
sometimes I have to get stuff off my chest. I have to say something. But it's
Exactly.
really your show. So what's new? What are we talking about today,
Uh,
Monsieur Toussaint?
Well, actually, there is something that I need you to talk about,
What's that?
which is this reel you showed me a few days ago
Hmm.
about your niece? Your
Oh, my niece.
Yes,
My niece is she's doing her own
her own little
podcast, her
thing.
own little thing. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. I've been catching her online every once in a while. She gives excellent advice. I'm probably going to call her tonight. We have to invite her. Like we have to do
Yes,
some sort of collaboration or something.
please.
We've got to collaborate. We've got to do some sort of
Oh
collaboration.
my gosh, yes.
So I think it will be very interesting. You can find her online. Her name is Rihanna Summer. That's what she goes by, and she mad cute because she's my niece, and she
Okay,
gives really,
jeans. Okay, good jeans.
she gives really good advice. I'm proud of her. I'm very
Mhm.
proud of her, and I can't wait to collaborate.
Yes.
I hope she wants to collaborate. So we'll
Same.
see we'll
Mhm.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the?
Do I have what? The what? Do I
Oh,
have the?
oh.
Do I
Well,
have the?
chat. I thought we had a little video or something.
Hmm.
I'm guessing we don't.
A little video
Yeah, her
of.
real.
Oh no, I haven't. No, I have to put that together. I haven't.
Oh,
Look for her. Look for her.
chat. Oh,
Rihanna Summer. Rihanna Summer
oh.
on at least
Where do I find her?
on YouTube. It's Rihanna
I
Summer.
thought we were gonna have a whole
Mhm.
discussion, but
Yeah.
well, you know what? That's fine. I'll okay. Well, oh,
Yep.
are you looking for her?
No, no, I'm doing something else. Go ahead. Do your show.
Yeah, if you can't tell, it's really been that kind of week. I don't know what is going on. Something is in the air today, but
I'm sorry. I apologize. I had to disappear for 2 seconds.
because
Somebody sent me a text, which I really had to respond to because people don't know that you're online. They don't know you're on the air. So yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do your show. Do your show.
it is chat today.
Yeah, it is.
It
It is.
has been up, down, left, right, center. It's from all angles today. I don't know what is going on.
Hmm.
Something is really in the air. But however, the reason I bring her up, first of all, if she want to collab, she's cool. I like her content. But second of all, she was talking about relationships, and she had this whole reel where she was talking about how you have to make space for yourself in relationships so that you don't lose yourself when you leave it. And I thought that was so insightful of her because one of the things that I always see and one of the things that I always notice is that when people are coming out of relationships and specifically long term relationships, one of the most common traits that I see in movies, television, in real life is people having these almost big personality shifts where it's almost like they're learning how to be themselves outside of a relationship where it's like you have to learn how to be yourself again. You have to learn how to love the things that you love by yourself again. And one of the things that I just want to mention is that yes, a relationship is give and take. Yes, there are things that you need to sacrifice to be with people long term. But at the same time, if you are losing yourself in a relationship and sacrificing your wants, sacrificing your needs to the point where you can't recognize yourself anymore, to the point where without that person, you don't exist, you need to get out of there. Because a relationship is give and take, but if you're only giving and they're only taking, that is not healthy at all whatsoever.
I know this is your show, but I just want to just butt in here
Yeah.
and say something. Um, I see stuff like this happen all the time in relationships. They're very one-sided.
Hmm.
It's only one person who really gets the benefit of the relationship while the other person is just sort of kind of hanging on. I've seen
Exactly.
this over and over and over again.
Hmm.
You, as the professional that you are, what's your solution for this? I need to talk to my niece
Yeah.
about that. What's the solution for something like that? And I'm gonna butt out. You go ahead, do your thing.
No, Pascal,
Yes.
your input is just as good as mine.
Okay.
But before I give any sort of solution, I just want to talk a little bit more about what it looks like because it starts small, you know? Maybe you go to a restaurant and your partner doesn't like green onions. So you don't order green onions in your food so that your partner can eat some, which turns into not having green onions in the house because they just don't like them. And it doesn't make sense if they're not going to eat them, despite the fact that you do like green onions. And then it just snowballs into on and on and on to the point where it's been 3 years that you're with this person and you've forgotten what green onions taste like despite the fact that it's something that you used to eat in your food all the time. It's little things like that where, and I know it's a small, silly example, but my point is replace green onions with something like knitting. Your partner doesn't like when you knit. So you stop knitting. It's a hobby that you enjoy doing. You don't do it anymore.
It's almost like being held hostage in the
Exactly.
relationship, right? So
And
the
it
person kind of takes you away from what you're used to and what you
exactly.
like. And
There's slights that are so small and so out of character that you
right.
don't notice it until you look in the mirror and you don't recognize
And I know
yourself anymore.
what a lot of very, I don't know what you call these types of relationships. I'm sure you have a name for them, but when it's not really the person, one partner being really possessive, but kind of keeping you away from your friends, from your family, from your, that kind of thing. Those are, what is that? I know there's a name for that. There's a word for that. There's a term for that.
Abusive.
Well, definitely,
um,
definitely abusive. But I know there was a certain, I don't know. I just know that that happens in relationships a lot. And to me, that's sort of related to kind of, I'm going to, if I'm the abuser, I'm going to force you to sort of do what I want you to do. I'm going to
mhm.
take you away from whatever gives you
I
comfort and
believe
what
there
you're used
is a
to.
term, but
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I can't
Okay.
remember it
Okay.
either.
We'll look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, moving on from that super heavy topic. But oh, before we move on, I still have to talk about what to do when you're in those kinds of situations. Well, first of all, if you can, get out, 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 get
Get
out, out.
out. Get out, out,
But,
out, out.
but
I'm sorry, I'm messing up your show.
it's
I'm
not,
messing up your show. I'm totally messing up your show. Sorry.
it's okay.
It was Halloween not too long ago.
Um, oh my God. It's Christmas time now.
Oh yes, that's right.
Locking in,
Yes,
locking in.
yes.
Okay. So, something that we really have to remember and something that we really have to notice is again, it's all about agency. And when you're in a relationship with somebody who's taking away your agency, one of the biggest things that you can do is little by little take it back. Whether it be knitting, eating green onions, doing the things that you love away from your partner and remembering and making space and carving out space for you to exist. Because you don't always have to do everything with your partner.
I'm gonna butt in
You
here
don't,
again.
yeah.
Wow, how do you define agency. What does that mean to someone? What is it
Yeah,
when
like
you've got agency?
agency. The way I define it and the way that I use that word is being able to make and keep decisions for yourself.
Yourself. Okay.
Exactly. It's you are able to function, you are able to live as your own separate human being without other people making decisions
So it's
for
sort of a
you. That is having agency.
self-determination, you
Exactly. It's
controlling your own life as opposed
mhm.
to somebody else
Exactly. It's
controlling it for
being
you.
able to function by yourself
Mhm.
and being able to function without other people making decisions on your behalf. That is having agency.
Got it.
It's not an exact definition, so if you're looking for a dictionary,
Yeah,
go
no,
open
I just
one.
wanted to
But
hear it.
yeah, but
I really wanted to hear what it was from your point of view.
yeah, that's loosely how I use it.
All right.
But when you take back that agency and make space for yourself, you kind of push that boundary back towards the 50-50. Because something that people need to remember again is that when you are in a relationship with someone, you don't suddenly become a new fancy person that is a completely different person than the one that you were before. No, you're still you. And maybe you're prioritizing different parts of yourselves, ones that mesh well with other people. But again, something that you can remember is that being in a relationship is not being two sides of the same coin. It's not being attached. You're two separate coins that are being brought together to double your wealth. You're two pennies that are together 2 cents. You're not one penny that's a head and a tail. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I never thought about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Merci, Monsieur Toussaint.
All right. Something else that I wanted to talk about is actually a complete 180, like topic shift completely. I don't know what is going on today, but I've been jumping around all over the place. I was at work, I was like, I can't focus. I'm gonna take the rest of the day off. It was so bad. I've just been everywhere, all over the place. And you know what? This episode is gonna look a lot like that. We're jumping.
So we're going to be all over the place today.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So sometimes those are the best episodes, I'll be honest
Yup.
with you.
And let me tell you, you know what we're jumping to right now?
What are we jumping to?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yes, because one of my favorite shows as a child, Teen Wolf, guess what? It's on Netflix now.
Okay. You know how I feel about those
Oh,
Teen
those
Wolf or Vampire
teen
or
drama. Oh
whatever.
my God, because
You
don't
know,
get me started on the Vampire Diaries.
because
Oh my God,
we had
the
a show
concept.
about that stuff. We had a show about that a couple of episodes ago.
Yes,
Yeah, no, those are not my shows, but
that
I
those shows,
understand,
yep,
and I
fundamentally made me who I am,
but
truly.
I understand and I appreciate that other people enjoy that genre.
Hmm.
I just don't. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's really it. I really loved that show for all the wrong reasons, to be honest. I don't even know how to explain what it did to my brain. It's one of those things where it's like it was just the right amount of fantasy and romance to make me like fall in love with the genre, where the storyline was one of those things where it's like you know what the term like enemy of the week or like villain of the week.
Enemy of the week. Okay. Week as in calendar. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
thought you
like
meant week like weak people.
no, so like there's this concept in a lot of cable TV shows where like whenever they're pushing out an episode for like every week cuz
Hmm.
for those youngins watching who don't watch cable anymore, we used to have to wait one episode every week. It would come out on cable, and if you didn't watch it at this certain time, you missed the episode,
Right.
whatever, whatever,
Right.
whatever. So whenever an episode would air, um it would be, oh, we're fighting a totally new villain, and the next week we're fighting a new
So
villain,
they'd
and
have
next
like
week we're fighting a new
a
villain.
theme
Exactly, per episode,
per
and the
episode.
villain
Okay.
reflects that.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's why it was called villain of the week.
That keeps people watching.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those, but
Hmm.
the plot was way more overarching, and
Hmm.
they actually had a plot that like tied a season together. And it was one of the first things that made me really pay attention to storytelling.
Okay.
That and the Vampire Diaries, because I remember being a kid and thinking so deeply about how they tied together seemingly completely random plot points into each other to form cohesive storytelling. Because you had this one enemy that was from this completely different place that's doing A, B, C, D, E. And then at the end of the season, this one little thread that they left untangled suddenly unspirals into an entire another problem in the next season that connects to an entirely different problem in the next season. And it just creates this huge chain of events that lasts for like 6 or 7 seasons.
I think it's
I don't
really
know how they
I
do
think it's
that.
really
Yeah.
interesting because we were talking, remember last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about fashion, and now
Yeah.
we're talking about basically storytelling. And I
Yes.
find it really interesting how in a lot of creative disciplines, science there's actually science
Yes.
behind it.
Yes.
There's story arcs and stuff like that.
Absolutely. There
And
is
even in
absolutely.
fashion, there's science behind,
Yup.
you know, combining colors and shapes and things like
Yeah.
that. And I find it very interesting that you hit on that for both of these two really
Yeah. Well,
different disciplines.
science is the basis of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Science is
Yeah,
absolutely the basis of
right.
everything. You can connect it to everything. And not to quote Adventure Time of all things, but one of the things Adventure Time taught me is that magic is science.
Magic
Magic is
is
science.
science.
All
I
magic is
know
science.
that anything, for instance, they always say that, in the future, technology will be so advanced that to us, it
It
will
will
look
be
like
like magic.
magic.
Exactly.
So I don't know
hmm
exactly what you mean when you say that magic is science.
Well, in the sense that I say it, it's kind of similar to that, where it's like magic is kind of just a term for like, science that you don't understand.
Right.
It's
Okay.
magic.
Okay.
But
Okay. I know that there's a lot of science behind magic tricks and things and optical illusions and
then you
stuff
can
like
you can
that.
also break it down even further where it's like what is magic that
Hmm.
we know of in the literal sense besides actual feats of unexplainable scientific phenomena,
Right. Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay. Magic is
All
science.
magic is science because all life is science.
Okay. La magie
Mhm.
est de la science. Je comprends. With that, we're going to have to go to a little station break and we'll be right back.
Yo blode, sak Dodor vibe la.
O baz, koton keye,
Mtande an pil moun ak pale de li.
Dodor Vibe Radio se yon nouvo stasyon radio nan la Brooklyn. Yo jwe bon müzik epi yo pay bon informasyon.
Ki jan sa? Mba konen non?
Men Fafan, mande Fafan.
Fafan,
Oh, sa nap fe la? Sak pase mesye myo?
sa ou kon de Dodor vibe, sa ye mem.
Dodor Vibe FM yo relil. Yon nan pi bon stasyon radyo nan la Brooklyn.
E vre, kote map jwen li mem.
Wap jwen di tout kote.
Ki jan tout kote la?
Tout kote mdi yo. Se yon stasyon sou internet. Depi ou gen internet, wap ka koute l nepot kote ou ye nan le mod entye.
Ouwe, ou te gen le pase mtap bay manti.
Ki sa? Le monde entier?
Jan tendel. Epi, gratis ti chéri.
Oh, epien, kote map jwen radio sa.
Rale telefon ou, epi monte sou dodorvibe.com.
Ok, DODORVIBE.com.
C'est ça. Bisous mes amours.
You're chilling with the smoothest sounds on Dodor Vibe FM, bringing you that laid-back vibe straight from Brooklyn.
What's going on, party people in a place to be? This is Pascal Antoine here. And for those who know me well, you know that I've always been like a media person. Ever since I was 12 years old, I begged my parents for a camera. When they finally got it for me, I just fell in love. And ever since then, I've been just a media guy. I want to introduce you to Dodor Vibe. I've been lucky enough to have been given the position as the station director. Dodor Vibe is it's an online radio station where not only do we play very interesting music and we have interesting programs, but we're also a full-fledged media company. So if you need anything done, we'll be able to do it for you. We have a dedicated staff that they know what they're doing. And even myself, I've been doing this for a very long time. So for any of your media needs, I invite you to check out Dodor Vibe. If you're looking for media production, advertising and promotion, digital design, event and mobile services, just contact Dodor Vibe. We're here for you for all of your media services needs. And we are back.
Here we are.
Talk to me with Monsieur Toussaint. What's going on, Monsieur Toussaint?
What is going on?
Yeah, what is going on?
The next thing I wanted to talk about was actually tying into our little conversation about fashion and storytelling. And it's the fact that I saw an Instagram post the other day that I posted on my story, and I ended up talking to a friend of mine for like an hour about it just because I thought it was so important. And basically what the post was talking about was the fact that nowadays art and creating in any sort of medium is seen as a skill to improve upon rather than something that humans just do because it's in our nature to create. In the sense that humans make art in the same way that birds build nests and in the same way that squirrels hide acorns. It's just something that we do. And instead, it's almost been commodified as the skill that we have to improve in and we have to become the best as. It's become a competition rather than something that we just do just for the love of the game.
Could you give an example of that? I'm kind of getting you,
Yeah.
but you lost me a little bit there.
I got you. I can give you a perfect example,
Okay.
actually, Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a skill or anything that you wanted to do that you tried for a day or two, you realized you weren't very good at it, and then you never touch it again?
I mean, I usually give, there are a lot of things I can't do and things that I've tried and realized, okay, this is not your thing. I usually give it a little more than a day or two and, before I decide, okay, I'm going to abandon this. This is just not for me. But yeah, I have it, but it usually takes more than a day or two. And I think that's just because of who I am. I'll try something until I'm very sure that, okay, Pascal, you're not supposed to be doing this.
Okay, well, maybe Pascal is a freak. But when I say that, I mean, for all my people out there, if you've ever, and I can certainly say that I have, if you've started, like, for example, drawing.
Yeah.
At a random thing. I really like drawing. I love drawing. It's fun. It's great. But I really don't do it often because I'm not that good at it.
Okay.
So I don't do it often because I have friends that draw really, really well. So I'm like, why would I draw when I know people that can already draw really well and I can just make them do it for me?
I can get that.
But
I mean, I don't want to derail the conversation.
no, please
I was
derail.
going to say, I mean, there's some things that, there's some things that I believe you just have to sort of be born with the ability to do it. But but having said that, everything can be improved with practice.
But
doesn't mean you're going to be better than the best.
But that's the point. That's the point. When did art and creating become something where you have to be the better of the best instead of just doing it because you enjoy it? Right? We should be able to create just because we want to create.
I'm trying to think. I wonder, like when the cavemen were drawing pictures on the cave wall.
Do you think they cared about whether or not their stick figures were good or not?
I'm sure I'm sure they wanted their stick figures to be good because those were drawn, it seems, to communicate something to people.
Of course.
Okay.
It was done with intent.
So it had to be done well. But was there any sort of a competition where, this guy drew better figures than this other? I don't know. There probably was.
Maybe.
There probably was. There were probably some people, I'm sure there were probably some people, this is my job. This is what I do. This is what I do. And I do it well. I'm sure they took pride in even those images that they drew on the cave walls.
And I'm not gonna say that competition isn't innate in human souls and human desire and human whatever, but creating is also innate. And those two things can coexist.
Definitely, definitely. We're born to create.
So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that, first of all, the way to become better is to be terrible. And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
like being a beginner at something,
Right.
you know? There's nothing wrong with having terrible, shitty art. Like
Right.
you
Right.
can have bad art and still draw just to enjoy it. And
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong
You've
with
got to
that.
do something and improve on
Exactly.
it. That
But
I completely
you
understand.
can improve. Improving, my point is improving isn't the goal.
Okay.
Creating art is the goal.
Right.
Improving is the byproduct of creating art,
Okay.
right? Do you get what I mean?
Okay, I understand.
Where it's like the goal isn't to get better simply to get better.
Okay.
The goal is to get better to make it easier for you to continue making your art and to continue expressing your medium, no matter what that is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Like-
I understand that.
When you write, like for example, you could say writing
Mm-hmm.
and storytelling. We don't, while we tell stories in order to communicate, that's one of the reasons that we tell stories. Another one is to be able to convey emotions.
Right.
And no matter whether or not you're terrible at conveying it or you're fantastic at conveying your emotions through storytelling, if it's something you want to do, you need to do it regardless of whether or not you're good. But the more you practice and the more you communicate and the more you share your stories and the more you share your writing, the better you will naturally become.
The better you get at it. I always tell people, a lot of us, we know how to write. Everybody could write
Exactly.
something. You can write a paragraph. You could write a story. But how many people can write a million copy best-selling novel?
God. No.
I worked for a publishing firm for a very long time in my early professional career, and I would always tell people that not too many people, we can all write, but not too many people could actually write that hit. It was all
Exactly.
driven by that hit novel, that New York Times bestseller type novel.
Let me tell you, as a writer, that shit's hard.
Oh, it's not
That
easy at
shit's
all.
hard.
Listen, if these things were easy,
Everyone
everybody
would
would
do
do it. So it's
But
it's
that's
not easy.
also part of my point is that everybody should do it, even if it's hard.
Yeah. I think everybody has their
If
talents.
if you want to do it, do it. It doesn't matter if you suck. Just do it. Just do it.
Everybody's talented
Right?
in something. There's always something that people know how to do well. Whether it's rentable, whether it's something you can make money from, that's a whole other story. And whether it's something you want to make money from,
Exactly.
it's a completely different thing.
That's what I mean. Where like not everything you want to do has to be
has
a
to be
skill.
done right. Yes.
Not everything has to be a side hustle. Not everything
Right.
has to be profitable. You
Right.
can just do
And I
things
think
because you want to do them.
I think people agree with that. I think people understand that. One thing that I tell young kids who are on their way to college or, on their way to their first job or something, or trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives, to me, I mean, of course, you've got to be able to pay the bills and everything, but I think it's very, very, very important to find something that you enjoy.
Yes.
And I always tell people, try to see if you can do something and get paid for something that you would be doing for free anyway.
Yup.
And that is how I kind of ran my life.
Yeah.
I'm a videographer, photographer, video editor. These are things that I was doing for free. And I was like, you know what? You need to get a job in that industry.
see,
You need
Pascal?
to do something in that industry. Something that you really enjoy, because I think you'll do
You
it.
see,
do it better.
this is where you and me are opposites.
Okay.
Because what I do
What do you do?
is I get a job in something that I enjoy. Of course, I want to do something that I
Yeah,
enjoy as my
yeah,
career.
yeah,
I currently work in healthcare and I work in the health industry.
Okay.
But I take that and I use that money to fund the projects that I really
That's
care.
what a lot of people
Right?
do. That's what a lot
Exactly.
of people do. People get a job that will pay the bills, and then they do their hobbies with the money that they make with that job that will pay the bills.
Exactly.
I think that's
and of course your hobbies always should be and could be serving you.
Yeah.
It's just that the way that they serve you doesn't always have to be financial in order to be valid.
understood. Never said they had to be, and I completely
I'm
agree with you.
Yeah, it's just a statement that I'm
Yeah.
making. Just it doesn't always, not everything has to be a hustle.
Nothing, no, right. I agree with you. Yeah, not everything has to be a hustle.
And this kind of leads into something else that I wanted to talk about. Do you have anything else you wanted to say on this?
No, this is, again, this is your show, Mr. Toussaint.
Listen, this is our
No, it's your show. No, this is Talk to Me with Christopher Toussaint.
Here,
Not Talk to Me with Pascal Antoine.
Everybody has a say here. This is I'm not gonna say that.
You're just being
anyway. All right. The next topic that I actually wanted to talk about was something that I spoke about recently with my cousin, where, just to give y'all a glimpse. So I was speaking to my cousin, right? This girl is 10 years old. She's 10.
I know your cousin.
You do know my cousin.
I know your cousin very well.
You do know her. Yes. Pascal came over for Thanksgiving like a few
yesterday.
Like, literally like yesterday. Yeah. So he knows everyone. So she just got back from school and we were talking, debriefing, whatever. Her mom was asking her, anything interesting happened today? Like, what did you do? Did you have any assignments? Whatever. She was like, no. Oh, I had a writing assignment. And I'm hearing this and I'm like, you know what? Let me be nosy. So I asked her, what was the assignment? She said, it was asking us to talk about skills that we thought were useful. And I asked her, what do you mean by skills? What do you mean by useful? Whatever. She wasn't really giving me details. So I was asking, what did you write? Like, what was your answer? She was like, to be honest, it happened in the beginning of the day. I don't remember. So I'm like, girl, okay, whatever. But I stopped for a second and I was like, okay, so if your assignment was to come up with examples of skills that would be useful in certain environments or in certain places, or skills that are useful in general, can you give me an example of a skill that would not be useful in certain environments? Skills that are useful, but aren't tailored to the environments they're in. And of course, she's 10, so she asked me, what do you mean by environment? And then, once I explained, she thought about it for a minute, and she said, maybe being a writer in a tech field. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she said, if your job is writing and, you're writing on paper all day and whatever, being in tech, your main job is coding. So it wouldn't really be useful. It wouldn't really be playing to your strengths. I said, okay, that's interesting. But I asked her, well, think about it this way. Think about writing in terms of being an author instead of just being a writer as like a scribe or something. And she said, that would make sense because it's like working in tech is all ones and zeros. And being an author, you have to be creative. And with that, I pushed my liberal agenda. So, with that, I
know who you're talking about. She's a very, very intelligent
I thought
young
that was
lady.
that was a very, very, very good answer. I was shocked.
The answer is she's very young, so there's a lot of experience that needs. I would have started talking to her about technical writing. You need to be able to write even in the technical field. She's looking at a technical field as just being a coder, a programmer,
Pascal,
ones and zeros.
I'm so sorry. I need you to stop for a second.
Yeah, let me
Are
stop.
we wearing the same shirt?
Are we? No, you have a sweater on. What are you talking?
Are we literally? Hold on.
What?
Not us literally wearing the same shirt.
Let me find out. Let me find out. Okay.
Not us twinning.
Okay.
Wow.
Let me find out.
Yeah,
Okay. That's very interesting. One day, you just made me remember something. One day, I was on the subway.
Yeah.
I had this brand new coat that I just bought. I was so proud of my brand new coat. I'm like, yeah, I'm the man.
Stunning.
I'm stunned. Whatever. I was the bomb. I was whatever. And I get onto this. I forgot what train it was. I get onto the car. I get onto the I get on the train and I look, and it was kind of crowded. There were a lot of people on. This is New York City.
Of course.
And I look down the aisle, and there's this dude wearing the same coat I was wearing. Don't you know, at the next stop, I got off and went to the other car. I was like, oh, hell nah.
And you know what? And
I
you
got
know what?
off, I went to the next car.
He said, nope.
Nope, that's not today. Not today, anyways.
Getting in the next car is so crazy.
I went to the next car, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
And the thing is, there were probably hundreds of people with the same coat all over the city.
You probably go into the next car. There's two people wearing the same coat.
I left.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, yes, we were talking about this young lady and her views of writing in a technical and being technical at the same time.
Yes.
And I was just saying that I would have gotten in there and explained to her that, yeah, you do need to be able to write in a technical field. It's not necessarily creative writing, but you do need that skill, even in technical fields.
Yes. However, and yes, you're completely right. And, again, not all technical fields are locked to only technical work. Like, you need creatives there as well. However, what you're seeing recently is a large number of creatives that are being almost forced into these like white collar 9-to-5 jobs just in order to survive to their bare minimum. And then companies are wondering why everyone is miserable.
Right. Yeah. And also, because a lot of the creative skills
they're not seen as valuable.
They're not seen as valuable. They're not seen as very valuable. It's a lot more difficult to become a successful actor or a successful musician
than it is to become a banker.
Exactly.
Which is like, why?
Yeah, exactly. That's just the way it is.
Which goes back to we should be able to pursue and make art just because it's fulfilling to us spiritually rather than financially.
I agree. But when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, I need to eat.
Exactly.
What is this picture of the Mona Lisa going to do for me?
Exactly.
Well, picture of the Mona Lisa, I could sell that for millions. But
yes. But let me say something. Yeah. One of the things that I see all the time that pisses me off is people going online and they're being like, oh, why don't people make art like this anymore? And it's like a marble sculpture from like the 1600s.
Because it's a marble sculpture from the 1600s. That's why they don't make art like that anymore.
Second of all, the reason why we don't make art like that anymore is because of sponsorships. Because those people, those artists, those creatives had sponsors.
Absolutely. They had very wealthy sponsors.
Very wealthy sponsors who would provide them homes,
absolutely,
food, shelter. Yeah. They would provide them luxuries. They would provide them all of these resources so that they didn't have to worry about anything besides sitting in their little room with
the chisel and whatever and doing their thing
and making their art.
Yeah, but at the same time, it still happens now. You still get that today.
Yes,
but making your living that way, those are few. That's few and far between.
Very few and far between.
It's very difficult.
It is not easy, and I doubt it was easy back then. But it is certainly not easy today.
Yeah,
and now you're expecting us to work a 9-to-5 and come home and bust out my marble sculpture and start chiseling? What is wrong with you?
That's what it's all about.
What are we doing?
Go ahead, Leonardo.
I'm so sorry. Like, what? Oh my God. And that's one of the things that's pissing me off. I keep seeing all of these headlines of companies being like, oh, why don't Gen Zs want to buy houses anymore? And they're not having kids and they're all with their dogs and they're not spending their money on Black Friday. We make pennies. We
we are in different times.
Exactly. The average, from what I'm hearing, the average single person household in New York, I believe, makes around $43,000 a year.
Okay, which is very hard. You can't get by with that in New York. For a family,
once again, the median income to live comfortably is $100K.
Right. To live comfortably.
And the average single person household, no kids, no dependents, is making $43K.
Yeah. So there's an imbalance there. There's definitely an imbalance. You see a lot more people with multiple jobs. You see a lot more people defaulting on their loans.
Exactly.
You see a lot more people not being able to afford homes and the things that their parents were able to afford. We're living in very different times and things are changing all the time.
Companies are confused as to why people can't afford to live when they've made living unaffordable.
Absolutely. And it's becoming more and more unaffordable. Now you've got AI, which is going to take
my
away a lot of
So
the lower level jobs. And even some not very low level jobs are going to be taken over completely
AI.
by artificial intelligence. So yeah.
Once again, the tech fields throwing themselves into the creative fields, where the creative fields are forced to slave away at their 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
And now we don't even have the 9 to 5s.
So what's the answer to all of that? Are we just going to talk about the problems, or are we going to come up with some solutions?
Girl, I don't know. I'm just a guy.
You don't know. No.
Call your local politicians.
Yeah. Call your
Push
local
for
politicians.
legislation regulating the use of AI.
Right.
Tip your waiters. Tip your creatives. Ask your friends how they're doing. Ask somebody how their day's going.
I'm kind of
Support your 10-year-old cousin that's drawing terrible art and tell them, hey, that's good. You should keep drawing.
Don't tell them it's good if it's not good.
Tell them it's good.
No.
Even if it's not good, tell them it's good.
No. I don't. I don't agree with that.
Really?
I don't agree with that.
No.
I agree. I like constructive criticism, not just telling a kid that something is good just because it's a kid. Because they've got a school of hard knocks. School of hard knocks. You know, it's like that thing where they talk about, oh, everybody gets a prize. Everybody gets a prize.
Everyone should get a prize.
No, everyone should not
If
get a
you're
prize.
10 and you showed up and you fought, you should get a prize.
I don't agree.
You should.
Okay, we can
We're
agree to
gonna
disagree
have
on
to disagree
that.
on that because I definitely think. Hold on, let me try to change your mind. You're 10 years old and you tried your very, very, very best, and you walk away with nothing. What does that teach you?
It just teaches me that what it should teach me. What it should teach me is, I need to try harder, or I need to change something, or I don't need to be belittled because I tried my very best and I walked away with nothing. But I have to be made to understand why I might have walked away with nothing, and I have to be made to. You're not gonna win at everything in life.
Yes.
Because what happens is when you grow up thinking that you're the best and that you can do everything, and then all of a sudden you're out on your own and you realize, oh wow, I'm not as good as I thought. A lot of people have these mental breakdowns because they grew up in these households where they got the prize for everything, even if they weren't the top. And then all of a sudden you're in a real world where, you're forced to realize, to come to grips with the fact that you're not the best. So I think you need to start that young. I don't believe that you should be getting a prize for every single thing you do.
I disagree.
That's kid gloves.
I disagree for a very specific reason. And that is because I think there is a massive difference between blowing up a kid's ego and treating him like he's the best for doing the bare minimum versus giving a kid a pat on the back for trying,
which is fine.
That's up exactly.
Which is fine. The pat on the back for trying.
Like for example, there is a huge difference between a consolation prize and a first place trophy.
Understood.
There is a huge difference.
Understood.
And saying that kids should get nothing rather than a consolation because we don't want to blow up their egos for not getting first place.
Let me give you.
I think there's a difference here. I think that we're talking about extremes, and I think that there is a middle ground that we can come to.
And I agree.
That I'm not saying throw them a parade for going to school.
Right.
However, I am saying if you're noticing that your kid is having a hard time at school, and they managed to pass a test that they were worried they're gonna fail, maybe the response shouldn't be, oh well, they're in school, so they're supposed to pass their tests. Maybe the response is, you know what? Good job. That's going on the fridge.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I agree and I kind of disagree. I just want to talk about two little things here.
Go ahead.
The other day, for people who don't know, Dodor Vibe is owned by Dodor Services. I was with Madame Dodo, who owns Dodor Services. I was with her in the office. And one of the things that we do is we provide, information for recent immigrants, along with a myriad of other services. This woman walked in. I think she needed something notarized, and she needed help reading what she wanted notarized. She knew she needed to get this paper notarized, but she was very transparent with us. She was very, very honest with us. She said, I don't know how to read. I never really learned how to read. And she told us that she had little tricks and things that she used to use in school to get by. And a lot of people in America and around the world are like this. They don't know
Yep.
how to read, but they develop a way to get by. And somehow this woman went from grade to grade to grade. I don't know if she graduated from high school, but she kept on being promoted despite not knowing how to read. And I don't know if this is completely different from what we were talking about before, but that's what I mean by it. That goes beyond the pat on the back. You're promoting this person because you just don't want to deal with it anymore. You're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Da, da. You know what? You go on to seventh grade. You will go on to eighth grade, so
Yeah,
on and
I
so
think
forth.
that's different.
Okay.
Again, because I'm not talking about I'm not talking about rewarding failure.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like rewarding bad behavior. I'm not talking about things like that.
Right.
What I am talking about is, let's say that lady who didn't know how to read, let's say when she was in seventh grade, the teacher stopped and noticed that she couldn't read.
Right.
Let's say in this universe, this completely hypothetical fictional situation, the thing that happened right now is that she said, you know what? They'll address it next grade, not my problem. You know what?
Right,
You're good.
exactly.
Pass,
Yeah.
go on to the next
Go
grade.
on.
That's what happened.
Which I think is what happened to her.
What should have happened is that teacher should have stopped, addressed the issue there. Maybe, okay, maybe we take a remedial class. Maybe we figure this out. Maybe
Right,
we'll break
yeah.
this down. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll get higher ups involved. Maybe we'll figure this out. Maybe throughout a year or 2 or 3 years, eventually she starts to develop the basic tools that she needs to
Right.
function. And that is something that should be celebrated.
Understood. And
That
there I
is
agree
something
with
that should be
with
celebrated.
you. I agree. But when you look at this, it's not one teacher. It's the entire system.
Absolutely.
It's the entire system that
And
kept
my-
on promoting her, kept on advancing her,
My
despite not having this basic skill.
And my point that I'm trying to make is that we should be celebrating children for flourishing in the system,
Yeah.
even if they're not getting first place.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
even surviving in a system this broken is hard. And giving a kid a pat on the back is not going to break
Right. Now,
their
the
ego.
other thing that, and people, it's like, how does this affect somebody in later life? I don't, and I think I brought this up on one of our early shows, on like the first show or something. I was at an airport once, and we were all, it was a layover. We had to take a next flight. It was raining. The weather was terrible, and every single flight was delayed or canceled. And there was this man in front of me online, and I guess he couldn't get on his flight or whatever. And this is a weather problem, not not
it's
a
not
problem, not an airline problem or whatever. And I just remember this grown bearded man taking his luggage and just chucking it. He just chucked it across the floor, and he threw the tantrum of a 3-year-old. And I don't know what's going on in his. He didn't get to his destination any faster than anybody else. Everybody was just one line. We handled their business. And to me, it seemed like he was probably the kind of person who was coddled as a kid and got everything he ever wanted. And now that he got to this place by himself where he couldn't control the situation,
He didn't know how
just
to
went
regulate.
buck wild. He went crazy. I don't know where he was going, but and I don't even know if that's why he did it. But to me, that's a potential result of a kid sort of always getting what they want and getting that pat on the back, and you're the greatest, you can't
And
fail type of thing.
Let me rearrange this another way. Let me show you the opposite result. So let's say there's a kid who really loves to sing. Just a random example.
Okay.
Or you know what? Let's say that there's a kid that really likes to dance.
Right. Okay.
And they love to dance when they're a kid, and they're dancing all the time, whatever. They want to be a professional dancer. And their parents are always telling them, random kid, Oh, stop dancing, you're gonna slip, you're gonna fall, you're gonna whatever, you're gonna hurt yourself, whatever, whatever.
Overprotective.
Exactly.
Not because they
Or-
don't think he can do it, but they're just being
Yeah.
really protect. Okay.
Or let's say they put right, I don't know, like they put them in like a dance school and they enter a competition and they get like fifth place.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Fifth place, not bad. Let's say out of like 20, 30 kids. And they go up to their parents all proud, and the parents are like, "Oh, like why are you so happy? Like it's not like you placed.
Like you should have done better.
Like exactly.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
like
that
can we
happened, yeah.
finally can
Yeah.
you finally recognize the fact that like you're not that good?
You brought home a C.
Like exactly.
You brought home a C. You brought home a B, which is
How do
actually
you
not
think-
that bad. But
How do you think that child would react to that?
it depends on the kid.
Because a
it
lot of
depends
the
on-
kids that I
It
know,
depends on the kid.
they would not dance anymore.
Yeah.
It would kill their
I'll
motivation.
tell you. I'll tell you what happened to me. When I was a kid, my mother put both my sister and I in music school. We had a piano, we had an upright piano in the living room, and we would take piano lessons every week. We would go downtown Brooklyn to the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and we took piano lessons. And I was okay. I was actually, pretty good. Eventually, I think she got a private teacher for me. He would come to the house on the weekends, and we would do the piano lessons and stuff like that. And I was actually, I was okay. Would I have become a maestro or whatever? I don't know, but I was actually fairly good. I'm fairly musically inclined. Yeah. And then one day I remember he gave my mother like a report card. He gave my mother a report card, and that wasn't as good as I thought. He's like, well, yeah, he's good, but he could improve here and improve there and blah, blah, blah. And that totally discouraged me.
And
let me tell
but
you-
that
but let me tell you what
discouragement,
happened.
that's the point I'm trying to
But
make.
let me
Go
tell you
ahead.
what happened. When I really looked at it, and then my mother was like, hey, do you want to continue playing piano? Do you want to continue taking lessons with this guy? And I was like, no, I'm not interested anymore. And what I realized, he messed himself up. He was saying that to my mom, not because I was bad or whatever. He was saying that to my mom so that she would sort of renew his contract
So that he could keep
so that he could keep
teaching.
on teaching me, and not realizing that my mother would let me have the last word. And to be honest with you, if he told me, wow, he's so good, if he gave me words of encouragement, if he gave my mother words of encouragement, he's really great, we need to do this so that he can get to this level. I would have been like, Mom, yes, I want to keep on going.
Y'all,
What are you doing? What was that?
y'all hear what he's saying? Yeah. Y'all
But
hear that?
I just remember that, he completely discouraged me, and, not realizing that my mom was going to listen to me in terms of whether or not I wanted to continue.
Pascal, do you understand that you literally just proved my point?
Oh.
My point is,
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to make is that you need to be very, very careful
Right.
with the criticism that
Exactly.
you give children.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
children are very sensitive and they cannot recognize what is constructive
Right.
and what is not constructive.
Exactly, right.
So all criticism does not sound constructive to a child.
I understand
So you
your
have
point.
to be very careful with the way you deliver it, which is why I'm saying,
Yeah.
even if you're going to give criticism, you still have to give some sort of consolation. You still
Understood.
have to, you have to frame it in a way that doesn't discourage
Right.
them, or they will give up
There.
because they're children.
That's the important part.
Yes.
Frame it in a way that doesn't discourage
Discourage
them.
them, yes.
Because if he had not spoken to my mother that way, I'd be playing more piano today.
There it is.
We gotta take a break. We're almost done here. We've got to take a break. And we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
The word is getting out. Dodor Vibe is here. It's always Dodor Vibe time, and people love it.
I just love Dodor vibe.
Mwen men Dodor vibe en pil, oui.
Dodor vibe is where it's at.
Be the vibe. Feel the vibe.
Dodor vibe.
Do the vibe.
Ça qu'a fait? Dodor vibe lié, oui.
See the vibe.
Dodor vibe. Dodor vibe, c'est bon bagay.
From Little Haiti to the world.
I like the little ditty. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, all right, we got a couple minutes left. But anything else you want to talk about?
We could do a quick story.
That's fine. We have 5 minutes left.
Story.
5 minutes left. Let's go.
I was gonna read this whole thing, but you know what? I'll just summarize.
Give us a synopsis.
So, this was one that was sent in. I'm not sure if this is them or if they're just sending in a story that they found that they wanted us to read, but it's am I overreacting? My dad had a tantrum last night and threw a pot of tomato soup all over the kitchen.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just thought that tied. Oh, I kicked the camera. I just thought that tied perfectly into what we were just talking about with the self-regulating and the coddled children and yada, 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 yada. And long story short, this person is in college, female, and they're coming home to visit occasionally, do laundry, get some meals, hang out with their family. And they're noticing that every single time they come home, their dad will like throw a tantrum or have an outburst or have whatever, and like ruin the mood and kill the vibe and make everybody upset. And in this most recent example, their mom had cooked this really good soup, whatever. Something happened that pissed off their dad. He gets up, leaves the table angrily, shouting, screaming, whatever. The table resumes conversation per usual, per normal. They're like, whatever, dad's being dad. He comes back, spills his tomato soup on the counter by accident, takes the whole pot and throws it everywhere. It's on the floor, it's on the ceiling, it's on the walls, it's everywhere. And then he's still screaming, then he stomps off, whatever. The rest of the family gets up, silently cleans it up, and yeah. And he's like, what the fuck do I do? Because I'm worried. I'm like, if this is how he is when I'm here, what is he doing when I'm not?
That family is enabling adult tantrums.
Yes, they are.
Enabling
this man
adult
has
tantrums. He's got a problem.
severe anger issues and anger management and anger regulation issues. And I think this is a good example of the coddling behavior and what it leads to. Because when you have a child that is never given any sort of punishment or never given any sort of recompense for their destructive behavior, they are conditioned into thinking that the destructive behavior can get them what they want.
Exactly. I've seen that.
And that leads to destructive behavior as an adult.
Yeah. When I do this, I get what I want. I've always gotten what I want as a child, so I'm going to continue doing this as an adult.
Even if it's not getting what they want.
And I think people who take that into adulthood, they're not even conscious of what they're doing.
No,
this is just something that has always. This is just the way they've always been.
It's conditioning. It's conditioning.
Yeah, sure. But that's that's crazy.
Yeah,
that is absolutely crazy.
Story. Yeah.
We're actually coming to an end here. And if any of you out there watching this want to talk about what you've just heard us talk about, anything on the show or any other show, what should they do, Monsieur Toussaint?
Well, they can go ahead and send in an email to us at talktomevibe@gmail.com.
We get a lot of email there.
Yes.
Lots of things to talk about. Yeah.
We try to cover at least 1 or 2 letters per episode. But sometimes it gets hard because we love to yap.
We talk a lot. Well, it is called Talk to Me.
It is. It is.
It is called Talk to Me, and we're talking. We is talking.
We is talking.
We is talking. This was a good show. I like this.
A bit chaotic, but
a bit chaotic. I enjoy the things that we talked about. And when can they usually see you live or otherwise?
Usually
or
around Fridays at 8 p.m.
at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
Fridays
that's
at
our
8
time.
p.m. on Dodor Vibe
FM.
And you can find Dodor Vibe on all of the social media platforms.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
You could even go to our website at dodorvibe.com, and we all over the place. We everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Spotify soon.
Spotify soon.
soon.
We gotta talk about that. Absolutely. Yes. We're gonna have an official podcast on Spotify.
Yes.
And
so keep out for us there.
I believe that's
Keep
it.
an eye out.
I believe that's it. And we're just about about at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah. Anything you want to say before we sign off, Pascal?
I just want to say
No.
bye.
Bye.
I like that song.